Chapter 529. Su Yiyan didn't know if it was because she had a guilty conscience, but the moment she stood on the podium, she felt that everyone's eyes were on her neck. Fortunately, Su Yiyan had been through a lot, so she quickly calmed down. Ahem, before we start the new lesson, let's do a spot check and see what we did in the last lesson. Who is willing to take the initiative? As soon as Su Yiyan finished speaking, a forest of trees was raised from the bottom of the stage. Su Yiyan. That's not right. Under normal circumstances, shouldn't most people be unwilling to be picked to answer questions? Why was it reversed when it came to them? Su Yiyan looked at the crowd with a look that said, "Why aren't you following the script?" Then she randomly picked a few people to answer the questions. She realized that the other party's answers were clear and logical. She guessed that they had spent a lot of effort studying and memorizing the lessons. After that, she didn't make things difficult for them and quickly got to the main topic. In the last lesson, what were we going to talk about in this lesson? As soon as Su Yiyan finished speaking, a few old people in the front row yelled at the top of their lungs, "Acupuncture." Su Yiyan. You guys aren't old, so take it easy. Do you really think you're still 17 or 18 years old? Ahem. That's right, acupuncture. But before we learn acupuncture, we have to learn about the human body's acupuncture points. Acupuncture points? Yes, acupuncture points, Su Yiyan said as she pulled the mannequin that Yi Qiliang had prepared earlier to the front of the podium. Everyone's eyes lit up. Yi Qiliang had asked someone to move the mannequin in the morning. Everyone saw it when they entered the classroom. Some students curiously went over to take a look. They wanted to touch it but were chased away by the old people, afraid that they would be careless and break it. When they saw Su Yiyan pull the mannequin to her side, they subconsciously straightened their bodies, wanting to see the mannequin more clearly. I asked Professor Yi to help me make this mannequin. The black and red dots on it are the various acupuncture points of the human body. In our human body, there are a total of 720 acupoints. There are 52 single acupoints, 309 double acupoints, and 50 extra meridian acupoints. The 8 extraordinary meridians mentioned by the ancients are actually a type of meridians and acupoints. Su Yiyan paused. What is worth noting is that among these 720 acupoints, 108 are vital acupoints, and 36 of them are fatal acupoints. Everyone below couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Achilles' heel? This phrase didn't sound very auspicious. The death acupoint, as its name suggests, is an acupoint that can lead to death. However, there was no need for everyone to be too nervous. Under normal circumstances, pressing and massaging these acupoints would not cause any adverse effects. The reason why they are fatal is because if you get into a fight with someone or accidentally fall down, a strong impact can be fatal. For example, the most obvious temple. Many people know that the sunken position next to our eyes needs to be protected. It was because this acupoint was the Taiyang acupoint, one of the death acupoints. Everyone knew that the brain was the most important and complicated part of the human body. When many people fall from a high place, they will subconsciously reach out to protect their head to prevent it from getting injured. And this temple happens to be the weakest part of our skull. Chapter 530. Su Yiyan stretched out her hand and gestured on the model. Because it's the weakest, it's also the easiest to injure the brain. Usually we can rub it lightly to relieve brain fatigue to a certain extent, but we can't hit it too hard, especially not to hit it. If we hit it too hard, it'll lead to fainting or even death. As soon as Su Yiyan said this, some people couldn't help but exclaim softly, "I know this. When I was in high school, I happened to see 2 groups of people fighting near the school when I returned home. One of them was especially fierce and even hit people's heads. There was a boy who was hit to this position and couldn't get up. Later he died just like that. That person was also arrested because of this. Now that you mention it, I also remember something. Previously, I had a distant relative. He was a man in his 30s or 40s. It was said that he went to the toilet late at night. The road was slippery when it rained, so he slipped and fell to the ground and died immediately. Later, I heard from other relatives that a stone hit his head. Now that I think about it, it's really scary." Su Yiyan listened to everyone's discussion and sighed softly. She took the opportunity to say, "So everyone must be aware that the human body's acupuncture points can help us treat illnesses, but they also have a certain degree of danger. Before you're confident, you shouldn't act rashly. Otherwise, you'll end up hurting people instead of saving people with good intentions." When the people heard this, they hurriedly counted and memorized every word Su Yiyan said. Today, let's learn a few acupuncture points on the hand. As soon as Su Yiyan finished speaking, someone volunteered. "Sister Su, do you need an assistant? Just like the previous class, I can help." Like a stone that raised 1,000 ripples, this person opened his mouth, and the restless people below also echoed. "I can do it too. Sister Su, look at me, look at me. I'm 1.8 meters tall and weigh 160 pounds. I exercise daily and have a strong body. I don't have any bad habits." Su Yiyan. Strong body and no bad habits. Are you here for a blind date or for a class? Go away. Since you want to be an assistant, you'll definitely choose someone who isn't healthy. If you don't have a serious illness, you'll at least have some kind of illness. Someone like you who is too healthy should be eliminated as the first choice. Sister Su, look at me, look at me. I'm the most suitable one. The healthy student who was caught off guard. Is it wrong to be too healthy these days? Su Yiyan. You don't have to curse yourself like that. The emotions of the students below were surging, and the few old people in the front row could no longer sit still. You bunch of bastards, scram to the side. All of them are in their early 20s and are still alive and kicking. How can they be as sick as us old bones? Even if Sister Su wants to choose, she should choose us. What does it have to do with you youngsters? That's right, that's right. You don't know how to respect your teacher at all. What did the teacher usually teach you? One must respect their teachers and know how to be humble. Usually it's fine. Teacher will turn a blind eye to it. But this time, I won't give anything to you. The youngsters who were suddenly accused of not respecting their master. Who was the one who gave in? How could they bully Rao like this? Su Yiyan. You're all a bunch of old bones. Can't you know your place? Don't get involved in everything. Still alive and kicking? I think you guys are the ones who are jumping around the most. Chapter 531. A good demonstration was about to turn into a battle between master and disciple in the martial arts school. Su Yiyan's mouth twitched slightly. She decisively took out the acupuncture needles she carried with her and said loudly, "Since everyone is so enthusiastic, it would be impolite for me to refuse. But since I've already called everyone, in order to save time, I won't bother two people. I'll be called up to help later. Later, you'll have to help me test this needle." Su Yiyan chose the longest needle in the bag. It was thin and long, and could cause you to bleed at any time. Many of the people in the audience had never even heard of acupuncture before, let alone seeing such a long needle. The visual stimulation was indeed a bit of a thrill. In a split second, the classroom was dead silent. Most people showed signs of retreating. The 10 or so elders in the front row were the first to react. They realized that their chance had come. Sigh. If I don't go to hell at this time, who will? Let me do it. Young people lack the fearless spirit of sacrifice. People like us, who have one foot in the coffin, can only contribute at this time. The young people who were inexplicably dissed for being greedy for life and afraid of death. Inexplicably sullen. Su Yiyan. You guys are really giving it your all. Also, don't think that I can't see the crazy smile on your faces just because you're so dignified. You're really taking advantage of me and still pretending to be obedient. You're acting as if coming here is a generous death sentence. You're too spoiled. Su Yiyan rolled her eyes at the few people who spoke, and simply chose a few elders who silently raised their hands. The few people who were shouting enthusiastically. They felt that after putting on an act for so long, in the end, they still made a wedding dress for someone else. Su Yiyan didn't care about their aggrieved and complaining eyes. She asked the few elders who were chosen by her to gather around the podium. Considering their age, Su Yiyan considerately asked them to bring a few chairs up. Now let's look at a few acupuncture points on the hand. First, this position. Su Yiyan compared the model while she asked everyone to bend their fingers and make a fist. This position is called the Laogong acupuncture point. It's at the tip of the middle finger when we make a fist. What is the use of this acupoint? Su Yiyan reached out to one of the old men and asked him to pass his hand to him. This acupoint has many uses. Not only can it clear the heart fire and calm the mind, but it can also cure insomnia. It can also strengthen the heart and relieve high blood pressure. In addition, it can also nourish the stomach. Nourish the stomach? Yes, pressing this acupoint regularly can promote blood circulation, relieve neurasthenia, and increase appetite. As soon as Su Yiyan said this, everyone started to touch and rub that spot with curiosity. However, most of them did not dare to use too much strength. After all, Su Yiyan's Achilles heel technique had left them with some psychological trauma. In addition, the Daling and Naguan acupoints also have the function of nourishing the stomach. These two acupoints are located at the midpoint of the palmar side of the transverse vein of the wrist, and 2 inches above the transverse vein of the wrist, which is roughly around this position. Su Yiyan personally gestured the approximate location of the acupoints for everyone. In addition, one thing to note is that children are different from adults. Generally, the acupoints should be slightly closer together. As Su Yiyan spoke, she pressed on the Naguan, Laogong, and Daling acupoints for the old man who had been chosen. Everyone's eyes were practically glued to the two of them. After a series of actions, it was unknown whether it was because her actions were really effective or because the old man was excited, but his face turned a little rosy. Chapter 532. A few old professors who were familiar with him saw that he didn't say anything, so they quickly asked, "Old Li, how do you feel?" "Yeah, what do you feel?" Old Li, who was in the center of everyone's attention, had a subtle expression. He could feel that his body was different, but the feeling was so subtle that he didn't know how to describe it. "I just feel, my stomach is a little warm, and my body is a little hot." Then, gulp. Now he didn't need to say anything. Everyone could roughly guess how he felt. His stomach growled in front of so many people. Old Li's face turned red, but he couldn't help but marvel at the magic of this acupuncture point. His stomach had always been bad. As he got older, his body functions were slowly declining, and he usually didn't have much of an appetite. If it wasn't for the fact that his family had caries and his body couldn't take it if he didn't eat, he probably wouldn't have thought of eating. This was the first time he had such an obvious hunger, and wanted to take the initiative to eat. Su Yiyan saw his embarrassment and smiled faintly. "Professor, you have to pay attention to your health even when you're busy with work. Don't starve yourself like this. It's not good for your health. If you don't have a good body, how can you continue to contribute to everyone?" Old Li heard that she was helping him to smooth things over, so he quickly went along with her. "I've been busy organizing things these few days. I won't do it again." Su Yiyan smiled and quickly covered the matter. "Next, let's go to the Hoshi acupoint." The Hoshi acupoint is at the end of the horizontal lines behind the palm and finger joints. This acupoint has a certain effect on cervical, lumbar, and eye diseases. It's very useful for people who spend a lot of time at a desk or studying with computers. Next is the Yangshi acupoint. This acupoint is located in the depression between the extensor pollicis brevis and extensor pollicis longus tendons, when the thumb and index finger diverge. Press on this position for 3 to 5 minutes at a time. It helps to refresh your mind and relieve headaches so that you won't fall asleep in class. As soon as Su Yiyan said this, everyone immediately roared with laughter. After all, everyone had the experience of wanting to sleep when they were confused in class, especially on a hot summer day. Running to class without taking a nap. Even if you really wanted to listen to the class, you couldn't resist the call of the god of sleep, and became a chicken pecking at rice. After a few classes, the way everyone looked at their hands had changed. Before this, they would never have thought that there would be so many acupoints on their hands. Furthermore, each of these acupoints had its own unique function. Su Yiyan could tell that everyone was very interested in the issue of acupuncture points, so he unconsciously talked more about it. In the end, he did not manage to demonstrate acupuncture to them. For this reason, The few old professors who were selected felt very regretful. They wanted Su Yiyan to continue this benefit to the next class, but they did not know what to say. Su Yiyan. Was it necessary? In order to avoid being pestered, Su Yiyan should have run away as soon as class was over, just like last time. But this time, she had something to discuss with Yi Qilyang, so she really couldn't run away. Professor Yi, wait a minute. I have something to discuss with you. Yi Qilyang was stunned. Then his eyes lit up. What is it? Is there a special teaching tool that you need my help to customize? Chapter 533. Su Yiyan looked at his expectant expression, which was the same as that of those old professors, and said awkwardly, "No, it's about me forgiving him." Forgiving him? Yi Qilyang's expression changed slightly. He looked at Su Yiyan in horror, afraid that this big boss would go on strike on the spot. Su Yiyan's scalp tingled under his gaze. My aunt is pregnant with a baby. She will give birth in a month or two. She's not old. I can't be at ease if I'm not by her side when she gives birth. I'm going to accompany her in a month. After that, I might stay there for another month or two before coming back. If you don't mind, can we change the weekend classes to online classes? Otherwise, I'm afraid we can only temporarily stop. Knowing that Su Yiyan was not going to go on strike, Yi Qilyang breathed a sigh of relief and immediately said, I don't mind. Let's use online classes. When the time comes, we will organize good people to attend the classes together. Then I'll have to trouble you. After informing Yi Qilyang in advance, Su Yiyan felt relieved. Just as she was about to go home, she was surrounded by a group of people. Unlike last time, most of the people surrounding her this time were girls. Su, are you that President Su on the internet? Are you really a rich second-generation heir? Is your husband really as handsome as the rumors on the internet say? Su, is your husband that handsome guy last time? Is his leg really healed? When are you going to bring him over for us to see? Su Yiyan was too lazy to correct them. She helplessly laughed and said, Why should I bring him over for you to see? That's my husband. Only I can see him. The girls surrounding her did not expect her to respond like this. They were stunned for a few seconds before they reacted. Hey wow. Sure enough, the good women in this world are no longer single. The good men are also no longer single. Only us single dogs have no home. No, we have to be stuffed with dog food. Sob. I want to. Sigh, the cold dog food is on my face. It's too hard for single dogs. Su Yiyan was amused by these drama queens. Just as he was about to speak, a sudden clamor came from outside. The few of them were stunned and subconsciously turned their heads to look in the direction of the voice. They saw someone standing outside the classroom. Su Yiyan's eyes widened in surprise. She couldn't be bothered to continue talking to them, and hurriedly rushed out of the classroom. Why are you here? Fortunately, it was a long holiday and there weren't many people in the school. Otherwise, those people in the classroom wouldn't have to sign confidentiality agreements. By the time they got home, the news of the two of them appearing in a university would probably spread like wildfire. Hua Chenhuan reached out and helped her up. She smiled faintly and said, If it's not you, can I pick you up at any time? It was true that she was living like that, but she didn't expect Hua Chenhuan to come to her so soon. I've already finished my class. Let's hurry back. Su Yiyan had already noticed that many people in the classroom were looking in their direction. She blushed and pulled Hua Chenhuan to leave. Hua Chenhuan didn't intend to leave just like that. Instead, he took a step back and opened his arms. Su Yiyan was a little confused. What are you doing? Fulfilling your wish. Fulfilling my wish? What do I have? Su Yiyan's words were stuck in her throat. She suddenly remembered the first time they entered the game. She was like a pendant hanging on Hua Chenhuan's body. She even hoped that one day, they could be like this in real life. Read the latest chapter of the male protagonist's Uncle Clearly Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 534. Looking at Hua Chenhuan's solemn expression, as if she was completing an important ceremony, Su Yiyan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The two of them were so anxious that the people behind them started pointing at them and whispering. Su Yiyan blushed and went forward to hug Hu Chenhuan's neck. She jumped up and allowed Hu Chenhuan to carry her away like a child. F***ck. Not far away, the people who were secretly observing them were stunned by this novel combination. When Su Yiyan was carried into the car, she was like a cooked shrimp. She covered her eyes and curled up in Hu Chenhuan's arms. She wanted to play dead until the end. Hu Chenhuan looked at her and couldn't help but poke her. She chuckled and said, "Weren't you looking forward to it before? Why are you so shy now?" How could it be the same? Previously, it was just the two of them in the game. Of course, she could do whatever she wanted. Anyway, no one else could see. Now they were in public, in front of so many strangers. Most importantly, most of these strangers were her recent students. So, was she leading the way to abuse single people in school and mislead them? Su Yiyan's mind was already filled with complaints. When she came to her senses, she realized that the car was driving on a road that was completely unfamiliar to her. This road doesn't seem to be the way home. Aren't we going home? We're not going home. Hu Chenhuan gently held Su Yiyan's hand and smiled. I'm taking you on a date. A date? Su Yiyan couldn't care less about her shyness. Where are we going on a date? You'll know when we get there. Hu Chenhuan kept her in suspense. Su Yiyan blinked and looked forward to it. Although they were married, they hadn't really gone on many dates. Previously, it was because their wedding date was close and Hu Chenhuan didn't like to go to public places because of her leg problem. This was their first date since Hu Chenhuan's recovery, not counting the game. Su Yiyan couldn't deny that he was looking forward to it. The car took a detour to a remote mountain. The mountain was not big, but the ecological environment was well protected. It was lush and verdant, and one could faintly hear the cries of animals at night. This was quite rare in City A where the population was exploding. When the car was halfway up the mountain, it became a stone walkway. They couldn't continue going up. Su Yiyan got out of the car and looked at the long stone steps, as well as the dense lights on both sides of the stone steps. He was surprised and curious. Are we still going up? Yes. Hu Chenhuan glanced at the place she hadn't set foot in for nearly 10 years, and her eyes flashed. Let's go. Su Yiyan noticed the change in Hu Chenhuan's expression. Her intuition told her that there was something he was concerned about. The mountain wind at night was a little cold. It blew on the two of them, taking away a lot of fatigue and heat. Even so, halfway up, Su Yiyan still couldn't bear it. She had stood for the whole afternoon in class, and now she had walked for so long. Her legs were beginning to ache. Hu Chenhuan obviously expected this. He stopped and stood in front of Su Yiyan. With his back to her, he bowed and said, "Come up." Su Yiyan was stunned. No, I can still go back." Hu Chenhuan turned to look at her and said with a faint smile, "Do you think I can't carry you?" Su Yiyan. Although it was the truth, when it came from his mouth, it sounded like he was complaining that she was fat. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 535. In the end, Su Yiyan couldn't persuade Hu Chenhuan. She stretched out her arms and hung from his arms to his back. "If you're tired, follow me. I can walk on my own." There were hundreds of steps behind her. If she was too tired and her legs went soft, it would be no joke. "Don't worry. With your weight, another one won't be a problem." Su Yiyan. She suspected that he was bluffing, but she didn't have any evidence. The mountain was particularly quiet at night, especially when there weren't many people around. Only the chirping of birds and insects could be heard, which calmed people's restless mood. Su Yiyan leaned on Hu Chenhuan's shoulder and looked at the steps that extended to the top of the mountain. She seemed to have thought of something and laughed out loud. Hu Chenhuan immediately noticed and asked in a low voice, "What are you laughing at?" "I thought of our son." "Son?" Hu Chenhuan raised his eyebrows. "Dun. Yes." Su Yiyan excitedly shared with Hu Chenhuan the interesting thing that she had discovered recently. "Isn't our Dun short? The stairs in the old house are higher than the stairs in my house. It's easy for it to climb the stairs in my house with its short legs, but it's a bit difficult for it to climb the stairs in the old house. 2 days ago, Uncle Zhang found that it wanted to climb the stairs secretly when we weren't around. In the end, its upper body went up, but its lower body was still struggling at the bottom. It couldn't climb up no matter how hard it tried. Their dog didn't have any skills in climbing stairs. It only knew how to jump. Its upper body would jump up first, and its lower body would climb up again. It was fine if the stairs were low, but if the stairs were too high, it was easy to get stuck and its lower body couldn't climb up. Uncle Zhang found it interesting and even took a picture of it. If this silly dog knew that its dark history had been seen by others, it might throw a tantrum and run away from home again. What Su Yiyan didn't know was that while she was talking, a dog that wanted to sneak up the stairs while its owner and dog father weren't at home was unexpectedly stuck halfway up the stairs. His upper body was flat on the steps, and there was nowhere for him to place his penis. His entire body was filled with a melancholy aura, as if he had nothing to live for. Just as it was at a loss for what to do, Roly-Poly, who was on routine patrol, quickly noticed its predicament and hurried forward to rescue it. Detected that the house pet is having difficulty climbing. Activate rescue mode immediately. Roly-Poly's big black eyes flickered a few times. Her round hand moved and with a click, it turned into a claw that was similar to a claw machine. She reached out and picked up a Dun-Dun corgi doll. Dun-Dun. What kind of operation is this? I'm really not a doll. Dun-Dun was still in a daze when he was placed on the ground. After a long while, it finally remembered and barked at Yuan Yuan. Don't think that I'll accept an outsider like you just because you saved me. I'll never give in. Roly-Poly tilted its head. It couldn't understand dog language at all. Dun-Dun saw that Roly-Poly didn't say anything, so it took it as a yes. Its watery eyes swayed and drifted to its round body, then swayed and drifted to its round head. Its eyes lit up slightly. Immediately, it laid flat on Yuan Yuan's round legs and tried to climb up. Unfortunately, Yuan Yuan's exterior was covered with a metal layer. It was slippery, and there was no point for it to exert strength on. Dun-Dun couldn't climb halfway up. It was so tired that it collapsed on the ground like a piece of dog biscuit. This is even more tiring than climbing stairs. I just want to take advantage of the fact that the owner isn't home to have some fun upstairs. Why is it so difficult? Read the latest chapter of the male protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Claw bookstore for free. Chapter 536. After resting for a while, Dun-Dun still did not give up. It turned around and wanted to climb the stairs again. Roly-Poly, who had been silently watching it from the side, finally understood its intention. It stretched out its claws and picked Dun-Dun up from the ground again, and put it on its shoulder. Dun-Dun was caught off guard and lifted into the air again. Its short legs kicked hard, and in the next second, it landed accurately on Roly-Poly's shoulder. It was stunned for a moment, and looked down at the floor under them. Oh, this was the highest distance it had ever been from the ground other than when its master and father hugged it. However, it was still a little dissatisfied with this geographical position. It turned its head and looked at Roly-Poly's head, which was close at hand. Without thinking, it jumped up again. Because Roly-Poly's surface was too slippery, it almost fell off. In the end, Roly-Poly reached out and poked its butt, pushing it above its head. Dun-Dun, who had successfully climbed on top of its rival's head, felt that it had reached the peak of its life. It barked happily a few times. Cough, seeing that you're so considerate, I'll reluctantly accept you as my little brother. After it barked, it patted Roly-Poly's head with its paws, signaling it to bring it upstairs. Brother, let's go. After countless difficulties and obstacles, the robot and the dog finally succeeded in reaching the second floor, and started the adventure. Not far away, Uncle Zhang, who had recorded the entire interaction between the two, ended the shoot with a smile, hiding his achievements and fame. There was one more activity material at home. It was really worth celebrating. However, these two were still too monotonous. He hoped that young master and young madam could work harder, and give birth to a grandchild as soon as possible. When the time came, they could play together. Just thinking about it made his heart tremble. Achoo! As if it had sensed Uncle Zhang's sincere prayers, Su Yiyen's nose itched, and it could not help but sneeze. Hua Chenhuan immediately became nervous. Did you catch a cold? No, maybe someone is thinking about me. If you feel cold, you have to come with me. Su Yiyen did not feel cold, but it was curious what Hua Chenhuan would do if it felt cold. If I feel cold, will you put on a coat for me like the male lead in the TV series? Hua Chenhuan, who was walking up the stairs, stopped abruptly. Then she continued to walk up. If you like, that's fine too. What do you mean it's fine if I like it? In other words, you didn't intend to do it in the first place. Then what do you want to do? Go back. If you feel cold, we can go back. Su Yiyen. What kind of response was that? If you really feel cold, you should go back. But if you answer like this, it's easy to be alone for the rest of your life. Su Yiyen had a stomach full of complaints, but she didn't know what to say. At that moment, Hua Chenhuan asked, Are you cold? I'm not cold. I'm very hot right now. I'm going to die from the heat. It wasn't easy for me to climb up here, and I didn't see anything up here. Are you telling me to go back now? Don't even think about it. Hua Chenhuan didn't seem to be surprised by her answer. He chuckled and said, Hold on a little longer. We're almost there. Su Yiyen. What was she holding on for? She was easily carried up by someone, and she didn't have to exert any strength. Thinking about it this way, Su Yiyen didn't want to complain anymore. She asked softly, Are you tired? Why don't you put me down? I'll walk on my own. I'm not tired. I like carrying you like this. He didn't have the chance in the past, but now that he did, he hoped that the road would be longer, and that he could carry her for a while longer. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle is Obviously in Love with My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 537. Su Yiyen blushed, happy and sweet. In order to pretend to be calm, she no longer stared at the front, but turned to look at the woods and the night view under the road fence. This mountain was facing the sea on one side, and a city on the other side. Looking down from here, they could almost see the entire city. Thousands of lights converged into a piece, shining like the Milky Way, but more noisy and warm than the Milky Way. Although this place is remote, the scenery is very good. It's just that the traffic is not convenient, otherwise many people would come here to play. But in that case, I'm afraid the environment here can't be protected so well. Hua Chenhuan heard her silence for a moment and said in a hoarse voice, This is private property. Without permission, no one is allowed to enter. Private property. Su Yiyen blinked and vaguely realized something. Just as she was about to ask, she was interrupted by Hua Chenhuan. We're here. We're here? Su Yiyen was shocked and hurriedly poked her head out from behind Hua Chenhuan to look forward. She was stunned by what she saw. On the open field, there were all kinds of beautiful flowers. Green grass and branches were entwined on the walls and the metal arch bridge. It looked complicated, but it was not complicated. In addition to a large area of carefully trimmed green lawn, there was a pool in the center of the yard. A row of tulips was planted on the edge of the pool. Closer to the pool, one could vaguely see swimming fish. The water in the pool should be spring water from the mountain stream. It gurgled and poured into the pool, then swam along the pool's edge to an unknown place. Under the hazy light and moonlight, the yard was covered with a layer of faint light, looking like a secret garden in a fairy tale. Su Yiyen thought that the manor she saw on the island was beautiful enough, but now seeing this yard, she understood what was called outside cherry blossoms. Is it beautiful? Beautiful. This yard is so beautiful. How did you find this place? This is too. Hua Chenhuan looked at her face, which was difficult to hide the surprised smile, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up. This is the place where my father confessed to my mother? Your father and mother? Su Yiyen suddenly turned to look at Hua Chenhuan. Then this mountain, you said it was your private territory just now. It's private property. After my father confessed to my mother, he bought this mountain as a memorial. Then, according to my mother's preferences, he built this place on the mountain. Su Yiyen. Fine, I'll buy it. As expected, being rich and happy isn't something ordinary people like me can imagine. Although the Su family was considered wealthy, There was still a certain gap between them and a wealthy family like the Huachenhuan family. At the very least, no matter how much her brother or father liked it, they couldn't fork out so much money just to buy this mountain as a souvenir. Not long after this place was completed, my father transferred this yard and this mountain to my mother's name as a wedding gift. As soon as Su Yiyan heard this, he remembered the island and the manor that had been transferred to his name, Su Yiyan. So giving your wife a large property when you get married is a custom passed down in your family? If she had a son in the future, wouldn't she have to help her son prepare an island or a mountain for his future wife? Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 538. Ever since she married into the family Hua, this was the first time Su Yiyan had been struck by the extravagance of a wealthy family. For the first time, she even had the feeling that she had married into a wealthy family. After my parents died, this mountain automatically fell under my name. Now, Huachenhuan looked at Su Yiyan with a teasing expression. It's yours. Su Yiyan's body trembled, as if she had just woken up from a dream. No, there's no need. I already have the island that you gave me. Your parents left this for you. I can't accept it. Huachenhuan looked at her and couldn't help but tease her. Who did it belong to yesterday? Men become bad when they have money. Should I leave my money to you? I'm just giving this mountain to you. Why don't you dare to accept it? I'm not afraid. Just what? It's just that this place means something different to you. It's too valuable. I can't accept it. This place does mean something different to me. That's why I brought you here. As for giving it to you, Huachenhuan paused. It's my mother's idea. Your mother's idea? Yes. Huachenhuan moved closer to Su Yiyan's ear and smiled faintly. This mountain, this courtyard, and this building are all gifts from my mother to her future daughter-in-law. Unfortunately, she didn't have the time to give it away and left first. You're her daughter-in-law. If you don't accept it, do you want me to give it to someone else? How dare you? If she gave it to someone else, wouldn't she be wearing a green hat? I wouldn't dare. So, will you accept it? Su Yiyan. Are you telling the truth? You're not lying to me? Su Yiyan was still a little doubtful. How could she just give away such a huge property? Moreover, she didn't even know when it would appear. What if this daughter-in-law didn't please her or was greedy? Why would I lie to you about such things? Huachenhuan held her hand. Do you want to go in and take a look? Su Yiyan glanced at the magnificent courtyard. In the end, she couldn't resist the temptation and nodded. Yes. This pond was specially dug by my dad. He liked fishing, and my mother liked tulips, so he had people dig this pond and planted a row of tulips on the side. Every summer, he would fish here, and my mother would cool off by the side. This arch is a pair with the one in the old house. One is black and the other is white. The patterns are the same. Back then, my dad had someone specially design it like this because he wanted to decorate this place as a second home. This swing here was made by my father for my mother. According to my mother, he made it very ugly in the beginning. It was bumpy, uneven on both sides and not stable at all. She didn't like it at all. Later on, my father specially looked for a craftsman and learned for a long time. Only then did he become what he is now. Unfortunately, no matter how good a swing is, it has changed after so many years. Huachenhuan touched the rusty swing. His eyes were filled with nostalgia and some suppressed bitterness. Su Yiyan had been by his side the whole time. She silently listened to him introduce the plants and trees here. She knew very well that Huachenhuan needed someone to listen to him at this time. In the eyes of others, everything here might just be beautiful scenery that was worth a fortune. However, in his eyes, everything in every corner here contained beautiful memories that belonged solely to him and his family. This was something that could not be bought with money. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 539. Su Yiyan reached out and grabbed Huachenhuan's hand, holding the swing rope with him. Your father loves your mother so much, so he must have made a new one for her. Naturally, they won't need this old one. Hua Chenhuan took a deep look at her and chuckled. Yes, my mom left for a while, but she's still worried about half of the people. Even when she's gone, she won't be willing to let her suffer. What? Su Yiyan didn't hear what he said, but she felt that something was wrong. Nothing. Hua Chenhuan shook the swing in his hand. I haven't been here for almost 10 years. It's okay. We can come here more often in the future when we have time. The air on the mountain is good, and this place is so beautiful. It's good for your health to come and stay here often. Okay. The flowers and plants in this courtyard were all planted by my parents. Some have withered, but some have spread very quickly. Although they have invited people to come here regularly to repair it, there are still a lot of weeds. If you don't think these flowers look good, I'll get someone to repair them and replace them with flowers and plants that you like. No need, Su Yiyan said without thinking. This is good. These flowers are very beautiful. There's no need to change them. Those that have withered can be cleaned up and replaced with new ones. Su Yiyan knew that Hua Chenhuan said this because he felt that there was no point in leaving these things behind. However, she felt that each of these things were traces of Hua Chenhuan's parents, and it would be a pity to throw them away. Those that had withered couldn't be helped, and those that were still alive could continue to be taken care of. The main theme of the courtyard could be maintained as it was. They only needed to sow new seeds in the barren land, and let the new vitality bring this old courtyard back to the home that once made Hua Chenhuan feel warm. You can decide. I have no objections. Okay. Su Yiyan's gaze swept across the layout of the courtyard. Although he really wanted to explore this lush courtyard, it was already night time. It was pitch black and had been in disrepair for a long time. Who knew if there were any dangerous things hidden in the depths of the grass? After pondering for a moment, Su Yiyan decided to take a look inside the house first. Can I go in and take a look? Of course. I asked someone to clean the house this morning, so it shouldn't be too dirty. In the morning? Su Yiyan immediately grasped the key point. Did you just get someone to clean up this morning? When Hua Chenhuan heard this, a rare look of embarrassment appeared on his face. After Su Yiyan left in the morning, he immediately posted a request for help online, asking the netizens, what should I do if I go too far in bed and make my wife unhappy? Was there any way to coax his wife back? Once the post was posted, there were quite a few people who came over and gave him a lot of suggestions. Of course, most of them came here to drive. The car that drove the fiercest and fastest was the most popular. Whether it was the number of likes or replies, it dominated the rest of the suggestions, leaving all the other suggestions behind. Unfortunately, Hua Chenhuan automatically oversold them, and only chose some of the more reserved ones. For example, find a beautiful place to have a romantic date. Watch a movie together to lighten the mood, and then have a kiss, hug, and raise up high. Buy for your wife. As long as you are willing to spend money to buy more gifts for your wife, you won't be angry for long. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 540. As soon as Hua Chenhuan saw the word gift, he thought of the old house with a large yard that his mother had left behind for his future daughter-in-law. He immediately asked someone to come over and clean the house before Su Yiyan's class ended. Then he brought someone over. Su Yiyan saw that he didn't speak, so she didn't continue to ask. She pulled Hua Chenhuan and was about to walk inside, but found that she couldn't move him at all. You. Su Yiyan turned to look at him doubtfully. Seeing his complicated expression, she suddenly understood his mood and asked tentatively, do you want to go in? If you want, I'll go in with you. Otherwise, we can walk around outside. This yard and the night view outside are also very beautiful. Hua Chenhuan met her concerned gaze, and his slightly narrowed eyes were a little warmer. He held Su Yiyan's hand and said, it's okay. Let's go in. I haven't been here for so many years, and I also want to see what it has become inside. Su Yiyan carefully looked at his face. Seeing that he didn't show any reluctance, she held Hua Chenhuan's hand tightly and went into the house with him. This villa located on the mountain had a total of 3 floors. The white outer wall looked a little old due to years of disrepair. In addition, Some plants and vines in the yard climbed up along the corners of the walls, adding a little green to the snow-white outer wall. The interior of the house looked quite clean, perhaps because it had just been cleaned. However, after so many years of not living here, there was a little more decay and a little less vitality. A beige sofa was placed in the spacious and bright hall, and all kinds of rare murals were hung on the surrounding walls. These murals had people, animals, and plants. The only thing they had in common was that their background color was almost all warm. It was obvious that the person who chose them was a very warm person. In addition, there were some beautiful vases. Unfortunately, because no one lived here for many years, there were no fresh decorative flowers in the vases. It looked bare and a little cold. This painting. Su Yiyan noticed that among the murals on the wall, there was a portrait that was particularly eye-catching. It was a portrait of a woman. The woman in the painting looked to be in her early 30s, mature and intellectual. Her watery eyes looked straight ahead, and the corners of her lips were slightly raised. The arc was not particularly big, but it was enough to make people feel the joy in her heart. Just by looking at this painting, one could feel her gentle temperament and the elegance in her bones, making people unconsciously feel good about her. Hua Chenhuan looked at the painting in a daze for a moment. Only at this moment did he finally realize that no matter how much time had passed, no matter how much he tried to deceive himself and others to forget, even when he married Su Yiyan, he deliberately did not think about this place and handed it over to her. In the depths of his heart, this place was different after all. This painting was painted by my father. The person in the painting is my mother. Su Yiyan had already guessed in her heart. Hearing Hua Chenhuan's words, she could not help but sigh. Your mother is really beautiful and has a good temperament. No wonder your father loves her so much. Hua Chenhuan was amused by her words, and the trace of sadness in his heart dissipated a lot. If my mother heard your words, she would be very happy. No one would not like to be praised, and his mother was no exception. With his mother's temperament, if she was still alive, Hua Chenhuan believed that she would be very satisfied with the daughter-in-law he found for her. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 541. Hua Chenhuan didn't stay in front of the painting for long. Instead, he took Su Yiyan upstairs. The location of this building was rather special. Apart from the side that faced the front yard, the other side faced City A, where one could have a panoramic view of the night view of City A, and the other side faced the sea. Standing in front of the window, one could smell the salty smell of the sea breeze blowing over. Hua Chenhuan took Su Yiyan to visit the room by the sea, and then took her to the other room. As soon as Su Yiyan opened the gauze curtains that had just been replaced, she saw the lights of thousands of houses on the mountain path. However, from this position, it was more condensed and beautiful than on the mountain path. Hua Chenhuan stood behind her, reached out and wrapped his arms around her waist, and held her in his arms. This is my room. The room by the sea that we just went to was my parents' room. These two rooms have the best view in the whole house. They thought that young people like to be lively, so they left this room to me. I think they chose this room because they didn't like to be disturbed, even if the person who disturbed them was me. Hua Chenhuan said this with some nostalgia and some grievance. Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh. She took the initiative to lean back and chuckled. I don't like to be disturbed either. Think about it. If we were at home, Dun Dun or Yuan Yuan, or both of them suddenly barged in. Hua Chenhuan. Well, as long as he imagined this scene, his face would turn several shades darker. Su Yiyan naturally noticed his sullen look, and it was difficult for her to hold back her laughter. However, she forgot that she could hold back her laughter, but her body couldn't hide her trembling. Hua Chenhuan looked at her helplessly, but his expression was better. He continued, After my parents passed away, I was afraid to come to this place. I even subconsciously wanted to forget this place. Because of this, he didn't immediately hand this place over to Su Yiyan. Compared to the old mansion, this place was more like his home. It only belonged to him, his parents, and the 3 Raos. As far as he could remember, his parents would take some time out every year to bring him here. At first, he would bring along Hua Xiaofeng. Later, No one knew what Hu Qihan and his wife said to him, but that guy never came again. Regarding this, Hu Chenhuan was secretly delighted. He didn't like Hu Qihan's family, especially Hu Xiaofeng and his nominal sister-in-law. If he didn't come, this place would completely become their territory. In this place he had spent the best part of his youth. But in the end, everything was ruined. When Su Yiyan heard his words, she subconsciously tightened her grip on his hand. Her eyes were filled with heartache. Her man originally had a harmonious and happy family. His family was wealthy and his parents were loving. With such a family atmosphere, the children raised should be full of hope for the future. But in his previous life he was like an old woman with one foot in the grave. He was rotten, twisted, and even crazy. Su Yiyan lowered her eyes to hide the sadness and heartache in her eyes. She comforted him in a low voice. It's all in the past. Now you have me. In the future, there will be more people. Okay, Hu Chenhuan responded in a low voice. Yan, yes. I only have you. Don't leave me. Su Yiyan's heart suddenly trembled. Without thinking, she said, as long as you still need me, I will never leave. Chapter 542. The tens of thousands of lights outside the window were like shining stars, twinkling to show their vitality. The night breeze blew through the trees in the forest, rustling the leaves and the gauze curtains by the window. Under the dense light, two figures could be vaguely seen getting closer and closer until they were inseparable. The next morning, the two of them woke up early and returned to the family hua. They thought that the family members would still be asleep at this time. But when they walked into the living room, they bumped into Uncle Zhang, who was holding Dundun and standing not too far away with a smile. Uncle Zhang? Young master, young madam. Uncle Zhang looked at the two sneaky people, and the smile on his face deepened. Last night, the two of you, Su Yiyan was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. Nothing happened last night. We didn't meet anyone. Uncle Zhang glanced at the red marks on Su Yiyan's neck, but he didn't expose her. He smiled and said, young master and young madam are both adults. It's not a big deal if you don't go home at night. It's just that there are all kinds of people out there. It's not like home. Young master and young madam should be more careful. It's getting late. Young master and young madam should go upstairs and change. I'll supervise the kitchen and have them prepare breakfast as soon as possible. The two of them were like students who had been caught skipping class by the discipline master. They nodded obediently and hurriedly said, thank you for your hard work. We'll go up right away. Uncle Zhang looked at the two people who were fleeing in panic. His smiling eyes were full of understanding that he could not see through them. Ever since young madam married into the family hua, the house had become much livelier. Now that young master's leg had recovered, he was a little livelier because of her. It was good. Young people should be more energetic. How could they be so lifeless? Su Yiyan went to Dongqing City after a simple breakfast. As soon as she got out of the car, she bumped into Ling Xiaoqi, who was also coming to work. TSK. Women are indeed different after having a man. Look at your rosy face. It's just missing the words "I'm very nourished" written on your forehead. What are you talking about? Su Yiyan flew into a rage out of humiliation. She pounced on her, and was about to tear her mouth open. Ling Xiaoqi was already prepared. She quickly dodged to the side to avoid Su Yiyan's sneak attack. You're anxious. Ha 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 ha. Su Yiyan's attack missed. Gnashing his teeth, he said, if you do it again, believe it or not, I'll send Dundun to your house tonight. Who knows, maybe next month your Huahua will be pregnant. Ling Xiaoqi's laughter stopped abruptly. She looked at Su Yiyan in disbelief. Are you a devil? Our Huahua is still a baby. Su Yiyan took advantage of her stupor and pinched her face. You're laughing at me. Am I not a devil? This is called giving him a taste of his own medicine. Ugh. Fang. Pa. I. Ling Xiaoqi's face was pinched. She couldn't speak clearly and could only glare at Su Yiyan angrily. Su Yiyan vented his anger, and quickly let go of her. You're so cruel. My face is red because of you. Ling Xiaoqi rubbed the red marks on her face, and glared at Su Yiyan indignantly. Su Yiyan glanced at her, and couldn't help but poke the 2 red marks. He smiled and said, "Fortunately, I pinched both sides just now. One left and one right is symmetrical. If I only pinched one side, wouldn't I be killing someone with OCD?" Ling Xiaoqi. That's too much. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 543. Ling Xiaoqi saw that she couldn't win over Su Yiyan. She rubbed her face with both hands, snorted, and turned to leave. Su Yiyan saw this and hurried forward to hold her hand. She smiled apologetically and said, "Are you really angry? Do you know what you did wrong? Did I pinch you too hard just now?" Ling Xiaoqi. Ling Xiaoqi rolled her eyes and said, "I was wrong just now? Have you been having a good time recently?" "No, you're right. She had been having a good time recently. Cough, cough. You're right, and you pinched me. Su Yiyan." Fine, she was in the wrong. Well, is it that obvious? Su Yiyan was a little embarrassed. Ling Xiaoqi rolled her eyes and poked her forehead. "It's written all over your face. How can it not be obvious?" Su Yiyan touched the spot where she was poked and laughed foolishly. Ling Xiaoqi choked and stopped in her tracks. She turned around and looked at Su Yiyan with disappointment. "Do you smell something on me?" "What smell?" Su Yiyan subconsciously leaned over and sniffed. "There's no smell. The fragrance of a single dog. It's completely different from a flirtatious bitch like you who reeks of love." Umph. Ling Xiaoqi waved her hand and continued to walk forward. Su Yiyan finally realized what Ling Xiaoqi meant. She quickly stepped forward and bumped into her. She said with a half-smile, "Jealous? Jealous my ass. Being single makes me happy. I've been with you for a long time. I can introduce you to my brother. My brother is a good man who can't be found anywhere. If you don't make an appointment now, in a year or 2, he might end up in the hands of some demon." "How much do you want me to be your sister-in-law?" Su Yiyan made a gesture. "Just a little bit. But if you're willing, you can develop this little bit into a vast ocean. After all, we should keep the goodies within the family." Ling Xiaoqi. So this fat water was referring to her or a certain someone's big brother. Ling Xiaoqi and Su Yiyan parted ways before they entered the entrance. They belonged to different departments and walked in different directions. Just as she sat down at her desk, Xia Junxing came looking for her. "Yayan about Ruei." Xia Junxing's words were stuck in his throat. He stared at her in shock, as if he had seen a ghost. Su Yiyan looked up at him doubtfully. "What's wrong with Ruei?" "Yayan." Xia Junxing reached out and pointed at a certain spot on his neck. Su Yiyan suddenly had an ominous premonition. He took out a mirror and looked at his side. Sure enough, he saw that there was a "Damn Ling Xiaoqi," what was written on her face. She obviously saw this thing on her body, but she didn't tell her. Xia Junxing looked at his boss's gloomy face that could rain at any time, and silently lit a candle for the unknown President Hua in his heart. Cough. "I didn't see anything. As for Ruei, the acquisition matters have been completed. Do you want to send someone to manage it or simply merge it and let it become a subsidiary of Dongqing City? Let's merge it directly. Have you checked those senior executives, artists and agents?" "Yes, most of the senior executives of Ruei are in prison because of tax evasion. The rest of them realized that something was wrong, so they sold their shares and ran away. The rest of them have no real power and are more well-behaved." "Okay." Su Yiyan nodded. "What about Luo Weibing's former agent?" Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 544. That agent originally clung to a senior executive of Ruei. As soon as the senior executive stepped in, he ran away. Su Yiyan twisted his eyebrows and his face was a little ugly. Did he run away? Luo Weibing, the former agent, was a living troublemaker. He bullied the weak and was afraid of the strong. Luo Weibing was tortured by him in the early years. After he became popular, he licked him again. It was a pity that Luo Weibing had seen what this person was like at that time. Although he didn't replace him, he was not very close to him. This person held a grudge, and Luo Weibing insisted on not renewing the contract. He was scolded by the senior executives of the company. He counted all these things on Luo Weibing's head, and became more and more resentful. He boasted that he had discovered Luo Weibing and brought him into the entertainment circle. He was grateful to him. He believed that Luo Weibing's actions were ungrateful, so he wanted revenge. The so-called scandals between Luo Weibing and Su Yiyan, as well as the scandals about Luo Weibing's acting as a big shot and sexual harassment, were mostly caused by him. It happened that the senior executives of the company were also very dissatisfied with Luo Weibing's refusal to renew the contract. They wanted to mess with him, so they colluded with each other and made those dirty things. Even if Luo Weibing, the former agent, was not able to be a mastermind, he must be the biggest accomplice. He just let him run away. Su Yiyan was really angry. He didn't run away. Xia Junqing obviously thought so. This person didn't get along with Luo Weibing. He had several artists under him. In addition, he had a close relationship with a senior executive of the company and secretly helped him do a lot of unforgivable things. After the senior executive was arrested, the people over there had been eyeing him. He wanted to run away, but he was caught as soon as he ran out of the door. Puff! Su Yiyan couldn't help laughing. It's good to catch him. Since he is involved with the senior executives, he should not be able to come out in a short time. Even if he comes out, some people will trouble him. It's safer to stay inside. Su Yiyan heard his implication and didn't continue to talk about this person. What about the artists of their company? Does anyone want to leave? Yes. Some of them want to leave, while others want to stay. Investigate the background of these rows. The good ones can be focused on nurturing. They can be compared to the standards of our company's rows, so there's no need to treat them differently. Those with evil intentions would either terminate their contracts or freeze them. Be careful not to let them cause any trouble. If you want to leave peacefully, you can terminate the contract peacefully. If you have bad intentions, you don't have to be polite to them. When Xia Junqing heard Su Yiyan's words, he roughly understood her attitude towards Rue Yi. He nodded and said, I understand. I will send someone to take over as soon as possible. Also, anything else? It's about our company's key IP plans. Su Yiyan was stunned. Only then did she remember that she had been inspired by the movie Fantasy Feast, which was about to be made into a movie of the same name. Therefore, she had urgently acquired several network IPs with more potential. After preparing for a few years, they would spend a lot of money to focus on building these IPs, and use them to make more pillars like Luo Weibing and Shuek Highway popular. These acquired IPs covered a wide range of genres, including original works, radio dramas, and even comics. The story backgrounds were modern, ancient, future interstellar, apocalyptic zombies, gods and demons. Su Yiyan pondered for a moment. I remember that among the several proposals you presented to me before, one was a comic adaptation, and the other two were all adaptations. The latest chapter of the male protagonist's Uncle Ming Loves My Joie bookstore was free to read. Chapter 545. These three were the most popular IP on the internet and had a larger audience. Among them, the comic was mainly about some funny stories, mixed with weird fantasy elements. If it was filmed well, it could become a hit even as a web drama. This kind of drama was most suitable for supporting newcomers. After all, newcomers might not have particularly good acting skills, but they had the advantage of being flexible. Once the character's spirit was shown, it would be easy for people to remember. What was the entertainment industry most afraid of? It was that people could not remember your face. As an actor, whether it was the protagonist or the villain, as long as the audience remembered your face, you would have succeeded. The other two IPs were adaptations. One was a modern drama about love and hate, and the other was an ancient drama about Peking opera. Over the years, with the stability of life after the migration, people became more and more respectful of the restoration of ancient culture. Many ancient dramas were born. Unfortunately, due to the loss of ancient culture in the real world, most of the dramas were like dogs instead of tigers. A lot of idol dramas with ancient culture were filmed with huge sums of money, But there were not many that could really become popular. One of the main reasons why Su Yiyan picked this IP at first glance was that the author who wrote it had a good understanding of ancient culture and could be considered a professional. He was not just writing nonsense under the banner of ancient culture without any basis. Another reason was that when the system was upgraded, a picture book that had nothing to do with medicine had dropped from the upgrade treasure chest. It was about Peking opera. With this skill book and some professionals, Su Yiyan was willing to take a gamble on this IP. What's wrong with these IPs? Not enough funds. No, we have enough funds. Someone wants to work with us. Work with us. Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows. There were many roles in a drama. Even if it was a drama that was used to promote their company's art, it was impossible to use people from their own company. Which one of these three are they interested in? It's Love and Hate. Love and Hate was the modern IP. Su Yiyan was a little surprised. In her opinion, the one with the most potential among the three IPs should be the drama about Peking opera. But on second thought, the subject matter of this drama was more sensitive, and it was a serious drama. In the eyes of outsiders, the chances of a failure were much higher than a success. It was understandable that they were unwilling to take this risk. Which company are they from? Juing. Juing? Because she had accepted Dongcheng, Su Yiyan also tried to understand the entertainment companies in the industry. This Juing company was about the same size as their company. It was a new company that was developing quite well. It did not have many artists under it, but their potential was not bad. What are their conditions? They want the roles of the first male lead and second female lead. In exchange, they can invest 10 million yuan. 10 million was not a small amount. Modern dramas did not need to simulate the background, and the makeup and costumes did not need to be too exquisite. The initial investment was lower than other types of dramas. The fact that Juing was willing to fork out such a sum of money for these two characters could be considered very sincere. Yes, but you have to audition and the director is satisfied. In addition, whether it was an artiste in the company or an outsider, they were not allowed to change or add scenes after the script was set. The details can be discussed. If anyone dares to casually add scenes and cause the main plot and other characters to collapse, they should get out of here as soon as possible. Let them add this point into the contract. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Ming Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 546. Okay. Xia Junqing noted down Su Yiyan's request and breathed a sigh of relief. If there's nothing else, I'll go out first. Wait. Xia Junqing looked puzzled. Is there anything else? Is the first draft of Fantasy Feast ready? Not yet. It's an original script. Although it's related to the game, it can't completely copy the background story of the game. The scriptwriter is still negotiating with the game designer. The first draft may take a month to be completed. Don't worry. Let them show me the first draft when they're done. Although Xia Junqing didn't understand why Su Yiyan was interested in the script, he still obeyed. Okay. After briefly discussing the internal affairs of the company with Xia Junqing, Su Yiyan couldn't help but think of Hua Qinhuan when she was free. What was he doing now? Was he at home or out? Where could he have gone? After absent-mindedly reviewing the documents for a long time, Su Yiyan couldn't help but take the initiative to call Hua Qinhuan. Yin. As soon as she heard Hua Qinhuan's voice, Su Yiyan couldn't help but smile. Yes, where are you now? Listening to his wife's soft voice, Hua Qinhuan's face unconsciously softened. The company's executives, who were waiting for the meeting, looked as if they had seen a ghost. Some of the smarter ones subconsciously looked at Gu Xiaoyang and the others, who were sitting not far from Hua Qinhuan, and looked at them inquisitively. Gu Xiaoyang and the others knew what they were thinking. When they saw this scene for the first time, their surprise was no less than theirs. In the face of several inquiries, Yu Zian silently said the word madam to his trusted subordinates. When the subordinates saw his mouth, they immediately understood. It turned out to be madam. No wonder the boss suddenly changed his attitude. If it were them, they would also, forget it. If they coveted madam, they would be beaten to death by the boss. Hua Qinhuan didn't notice the actions of the subordinates. She smiled faintly and replied, "At the company." "The company? You went to the company? Which company is it?" "Fantasy headquarters." "Fantasy?" Su Yiyan mulled over the name of the company, and it took him a while to remember. This seemed to be the headquarters of several companies under Hua Chenhuan's name. Zuo Yanbai, Gu Xiaoyang, and Yu Zian were all subsidiaries of this company. Since Hua Chenhuan didn't show up in the company all year round, the headquarters adopted a rotation system. Basically, one person was in charge for a month, and a quarter was a cycle. Thinking of this, he suddenly felt that the three of them were quite pitiful. They had been squeezed dry in all sorts of ways, and they wished that they could take turns working 360 plus times a year. The three of them. "I feel wronged, but I won't cry." "Are you alone? Is the company environment good? Will you feel uncomfortable going to the company for the first time? Do the employees in the company treat you well?" Hua Chenhuan listened to Su Yiyan's words, which were full of concern and worry. The smile in her eyes deepened. After she finished speaking, she reminded in a low voice, "Yan, I'm the boss of the company." He was the boss of the company. Before, when he didn't come to the company, no one dared to ignore him, let alone now that he personally came to the company to work. After Su Yiyan finished speaking, she realized that she had asked a few silly questions. Her face turned red, and she didn't say anything. Seeing that she didn't say anything, Hua Chenhuan roughly guessed her thoughts. She took the initiative to change the topic. "You called me at this time. Do you miss me?" Read the latest chapter of the male protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 547. Only then did Su Yiyan remember the main reason why he called Hua Chenhuan. However, he still subconsciously retorted, "No. You didn't miss me?" Su Yiyan was at a loss for words. "Then that means you missed me." Su Yiyan. Although you're not wrong. Why do these words sound so shameless coming out of your mouth? I missed you too. Su Yiyan's rebuttal was immediately defeated by someone's greasy confession. He felt depressed but also a little sweet at the same time. Su Yiyan, who was continuously teased, gave up struggling. He decisively skipped the question of who missed who and went straight to the point. "Well, I called you because I want to." "What?" "In order to thank you for bringing me to such a beautiful place last night, and giving me such a beautiful courtyard. I'll allow you to order food tonight. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. What do you want to eat? Hurry up, I'll change my mind if you're late." "Order food." Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed. "Anything? As long as it's something I know how to do, anything is fine." Hua Chenhuan was silent for a while and said hoarsely, "I don't feel like eating tonight." This answer was unexpected by Su Yiyan. "Why do you suddenly not feel like eating? Are you not feeling well? Have no appetite?" Before Su Yiyan could finish asking, a faint voice came from the other end of the phone. "I want to eat you." Su Yiyan. "Everyone. Who am I? Where am I? Will I still be alive after today?" Su Yiyan's face turned red, and he exploded on the spot. "I suspect that you're driving and I have evidence." Oh, Hua Chenhuan's expression was strange. His tone was so calm that it made people want to beat him up. "Do you want to get in the car? I'll take you for a ride." Everyone was completely dazed. Car? What car? What were they talking about? It was too profound, and they couldn't understand it. Yes, they couldn't understand it. Su Yiyan was burning up. She resisted the urge to hang up the phone and complained, "I'm being serious with you. What do you want to eat?" "No, I'll make the decision myself." Hua Chenhuan could tell that Su Yiyan was about to explode. She chuckled and said, "I want to eat sweet and sour yin-yan, braised yin-yan, fried yin-yan. Oh, forget it, let's just steam yin-yan. The original flavor is the best." Su Yiyan. Everyone. What the F***ck, did boss and madam know how to play at home? Su Yiyan's mind went blank. In the end, she still exploded. "Eat, eat, eat. If I don't kill you, you don't have to eat tonight." After shouting, she didn't wait for Hua Chenhuan's reaction, and directly hung up the phone. Hua Chenhuan was yelled at by his wife, But not only was he not angry, he even seemed a little happy. The smile on his face made everyone's hair stand on end. When he came back to his senses from teasing his wife, he finally remembered the room full of pitiful people who had been forgotten. Then, everyone was lucky enough to see their big boss change his expression on the spot. A few minutes ago, he was like a spring breeze, gently confessing to his wife and secretly flirting with her. Now he was like the autumn wind sweeping the fallen leaves in front of them. Cold. Cool. No. Feelings. Hua Chunhuan's sharp gaze swept across everyone present. He said with a faint smile, "What did you see and hear just now?" Everyone. F***CK, this is a suicide question. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Clearly Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 548. In the end, Zhuo Yanbai was the first to break the silence and lead everyone in the room to save themselves. Ahem, we didn't see or hear anything just now. The others seemed to have woken up from a dream and hurriedly echoed, Yes, we didn't see or hear anything. They didn't see their boss's gentleness and sweetness towards his wife, and they didn't hear their boss flirting with her husband. They were all blind and deaf today. So boss, please spare our lives. Hua Chenhuan glanced at the trembling crowd and mercifully asked, Where were you just now? Zhuo Yanbai and the others felt as if they had been pardoned. They hurriedly winked at the department head who had reported on their work, and asked him to quickly continue the conversation. Although the gossip between the young master and the young master was exciting, it would be fatal if one watched too much. Su Yiyan was fierce with his words, but he had a sharp tongue and a soft heart. He couldn't bear to let him go hungry. As soon as he got home, he ran to the kitchen and gave some benefits to his fans in the live broadcast room. Recently, I've been feeling hot, so I've been feeling heaty. My appetite hasn't been very good either. So today, I'll bring some medicinal cuisine and home-cooked dishes to clear away heatiness and improve your appetite. Hua Chenhuan had just clicked into the live broadcast room when he heard these two sentences. He seriously suspected that these things to reduce heatiness were specially prepared for him. After all, he had been heaty recently. Before he could think further, the screen of the live broadcast room was already flooded with comments from the audience. Recently, I've been really heaty. Once I'm heaty, I feel irritated. My mouth is bitter, and I have no appetite at all. Sob, sob, sob. Upstairs, you only have a bitter mouth. I'm the one who's really miserable. I have several bumps in my mouth. After they break, I feel so sore. Shaking hands with upstairs, I have bumps in my mouth when I'm heaty. Not only in my mouth, but also on my face. It's so infuriating. Not only do I have bumps in my mouth, but my teeth also hurt. The flesh under my teeth is swollen and soft. It feels like it'll break at any time. It's really torturous. Generally speaking, there are 4 types of heatiness: liver fire, heart fire, lung fire, and stomach fire. If one felt bitter in the mouth, it was usually due to excessive liver fire. If there was a bump in the mouth, it was due to excessive heart fire. There are many reasons for excessive internal heat. Other than anger, you usually stay up late and drink too little water, so it's easy to get excessive internal heat. Since it was relatively hot, Su Yiyan mostly prepared cool and sweet soups: longan lotus seed soup, wolfberry and white fungus soup. Then he used a ball digging tool to dig out a watermelon cup, and used the ready-made watermelon skin to carve an exquisite pattern. It was supposed to be a very simple ingredient, but after she made it, it suddenly became a beautiful and exquisite after-meal fruit. Su Yiyan mostly chose dishes that were appetizing, calming, and protecting the liver and kidneys. Dompa tofu and asparagus with straw mushrooms were vegetarian dishes that tasted lighter. The heaviest dish should be the fried pork kidney in soy sauce. The smell of pork kidney was quite strong, and if it was not handled well, the smell alone was enough to dissuade most people. Su Yiyan first removed the tendons in the pork kidney, then soaked it in water. After that, she soaked it in cooking wine to remove the smell. Then she added hot oil and stir-fried it. In addition, she also needed to add seasonings such as scallions and ginger to remove the smell. Then, she mixed in some refreshing cucumbers and fungus. A fresh and tender fried pork kidney in soy sauce was done. Chapter 549. Everyone was very curious about this dish. When Su Yiyen first took out the pork loin, many viewers in the live stream subconsciously frowned. The taste of the pork loin was very impactful to most people. Even if the tendons were removed and stewed, the smell would linger for a long time. Now that the dish was ready, although everyone was curious, they did not dare to try it. It was not until the first batch of curious people came out to share their thoughts that people started to try it. When the host first took out the pork loin, the smell almost made me give up. I didn't expect it to be so tender and delicious after cooking. The previous smell is all gone. It's true. I didn't dare to eat this at first. I always felt that the smell was not clean. When I saw other comments, I tasted it out of curiosity. I kind of fell in love with the taste. Sure enough, no matter what it is in the host's hands, it changes greatly. The fish is no longer fishy, and the mutton is no longer smelly. Now this pork loin is the same. Paired with the crispy and sweet cucumber, it's super delicious. It's soft and crispy. The texture is a little strange, but it's really delicious. After hearing your words, I want to eat it too. I'm salivating too. Su Yiyen took some time to glance at the screen. Seeing that most people were not repulsed by the taste of the pork loin, she felt relieved and turned to prepare the next dish, chrysanthemum sea base. The so-called chrysanthemum sea base was made by cutting the base meat into the shape of a chrysanthemum, marinating it with cooking wine, wrapping it in corn flour, and frying it in a wok. From afar, it looked like a blooming chrysanthemum. When the dish was placed on a plate, a few pieces of cooked green vegetables were placed on the bottom of the plate. The dish was like a scene. Every time people saw it, they could not help but admire the exquisite craftsmanship of the chef and the unique characteristics of the dish. When cooking this dish, a little lemon juice can be added to remove the fishy smell and freshen it up. It has an appetizing effect. However, because it's fried food, viewers with blisters on their mouths should not eat too much. It's okay, it's okay. The food tasting in the live stream will not affect reality. Thank you again for inventing the virtual simulator. I can taste all kinds of delicious food and not be afraid of eating too much. After hearing what you said, my resentment of not being able to eat the ingredients made by the host in reality suddenly disappeared. Although what you said makes sense, it's even more unbearable to find that your stomach is still empty after eating. Sob, 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 the dishes made by the streamer always arouse my appetite. Even if it makes me heaty, I still want to eat it. Please pick me later. Su Yiyen looked at the various complaints on the screen and smiled. It was nothing. She glanced at the dishes on the table and felt that it was still a little too little, so she added a dish of braised bamboo shoots and green bean lotus root. The mung bean lotus root was actually made by replacing the glutinous rice in the rock sugar and glutinous rice lotus root with mung beans that could cool down the heat. The lotus root was cut into slices with mung beans inlaid in the middle. With one bite, it had both the sweetness of rock sugar and the freshness of mung beans. The crisp texture of the lotus root paired with the sticky mung beans was quite popular among the audience who like sweet food. After the live broadcast ended, Su Yiyen called for a few chefs to help take the few dishes in the kitchen out with Tang Du unexpectedly. As soon as he walked out of the kitchen, he saw the family of 3 uninvited guests sitting opposite Hu Chenhuan in the living room. Chapter 550. Strictly speaking, they could not be considered uninvited guests. The person who came was old Master Jiang, who had come to ask for help. Beside him was a girl who looked about 20 years old, and was sitting in a wheelchair. She should be his eldest granddaughter who had been harmed by her scumbag father. Beside the girl was a non-mainstream teenager who was a few years older than her. He had green hair on his head, and the powder on his face could probably be used to paint a wall. His exaggerated smoky makeup and unruly expression made him look like a Chinibyu no matter how one looked at him. The non-mainstream teenager was stunned when he glanced at Su Yiyen. Then, there was a little more inquiry and suspicion in his eyes. Su Yiyen did not care what this person was thinking. She asked in confusion, "Why are you here at this time?" If she remembered correctly, the appointment with old Master Jiang should be at 9 o'clock, right? It was only 7 o'clock. More than an hour earlier? Old Master Jiang was also a little embarrassed when he heard that. When he saw Hu Chenhuan stand up again that day, he had been in a state of extreme excitement and had not slept well for several nights. Su Yiyan would bring her over next week when she was free, so he called on Monday to ask. They had made an appointment to come at 9 o'clock in the evening, but they were afraid that Su Yiyan would have a bad impression of them if they were late, so they always wanted to come early. In the end, they came more than an hour earlier. That was not all. Before they came, they did not expect Su Yiyan's dinner time to be so late. It was almost midnight, and they were only about to start eating. They came just in time for dinner. No matter how one looked at it, they seemed to have come specially to ask for help. Su Yiyan saw old Master Jiang's embarrassment, and then looked at Sister Jiang, who was quiet and curious not far away. She breathed a sigh of relief. She could understand his feelings. Back then, she was also focused on gaining more favorability points and leveling up quickly so that Hu Chenhuan could stand up earlier. Her hopeless life suddenly had a glimmer of hope. Even if she had to crawl, she hoped to grab it as soon as possible. With this trace of sympathy, Su Yiyan's heart softened a little. You came so early. You probably haven't eaten yet, right? Why don't you eat together? Old Master Jiang was slightly stunned and subconsciously said, No, we. Goo. The loud and clear voice reverberated in the room, and the atmosphere between the few people became subtle in an instant. In the end, Su Yiyan was the first to break the silence. She laughed and said, Since you're already here, there's no need to be polite. I just made a few extra dishes tonight. It would be a waste if we can't finish them. If you don't mind, why don't you join us? Old Master Jiang smiled awkwardly. Then I'll accept your offer. Behind him, young Master Jiang, the culprit of the cooing just now, patted his disobedient stomach in disappointment. He wished he could dig a hole and bury himself in it, leaving only his green head exposed. It was too embarrassing. He had just drunk a bottle of nutrient solution before coming here, so he shouldn't be hungry now. Just because he smelled the aroma of food in someone else's kitchen, he actually cried out. What a disgrace. This young master insisted on coming over, because he was worried that his grandfather would be deceived. Instead of going to the hospital, he insisted on coming to someone's home for treatment. No matter how he looked at it, it didn't sound reliable. Along the way, the young master was nervous, thinking that he would turn into a microscope and expose the true face of the liar. In the end, he died before he could succeed. This made the young master, who was still in his youth, deflate like a balloon that had been pricked by a needle. Chapter 551. Hu Chenhuan was already displeased with this group of people who had suddenly barged in and disturbed his and his wife's dinner time. When he heard Su Yiyan inviting them to have dinner together, his face sank, and he was very reluctant. Su Yiyan immediately saw through his thoughts. She took the initiative to take his hand and said, Let's go. It's time to eat. I specially made some delicious new dishes today. If you don't eat them, they will be gone in a while. Hu Chenhuan was instantly persuaded. Those dishes were clearly prepared for him. Why should these outsiders take advantage of them? He had to eat more later. Sister Jiang was surprised to see the two of them interacting. She then stared unblinkingly at Hu Chenhuan. To be precise, she stared at Hu Chenhuan's recovered legs. Her eyes lit up. They had actually recovered. Grandfather Jiang and Hu Chenhuan's father were old friends. Because of this relationship, Jiang Qingrun had seen Hu Chenhuan when she was very young. She even affectionately called him Uncle Hua. She was only 10 years old when the family Hua's accident happened. She only remembered that her grandfather had a frown on his face, as though he had encountered some difficulties. Later, she found out that the kind-hearted couple had passed away. Their company had been taken over by the annoying Uncle Hua, and the good-looking Uncle Hua had been paralyzed in an accident. He would never be able to walk upright for the rest of his life. At the time, she didn't understand what this meant. She secretly asked her grandfather if he could take her to see Uncle Hua. Jiang Qingrun still remembered the look in her grandfather's eyes when he looked at her. A few years later, she gradually realized that his eyes were full of guilt. When his old friend's son needed help the most, he chose to play it safe in order to protect their family. Although it was understandable, he felt guilty toward his old friend. At the time, he probably never imagined that a few years later, his biological granddaughter would become one of these unfortunate people. Jiang Qingran looked at the old man who had aged a lot in the past few years, and took the initiative to reach out and hold his hand. She couldn't help but recall the time when she had just gotten into an accident. Every night, the old man would secretly wipe his tears beside the sickbed. He would repent in a low voice after thinking that she was asleep, thinking that all of this was retribution. Retribution for his selfishness back then. Jiang Qingran didn't think it was karma. Even though she was her grandfather's granddaughter, her grandfather did that for her and her brother. Now that this retribution fell on her, she deserved it. It had nothing to do with anyone else. Grandpa, let's go. Old Master Jiang looked at his granddaughter, his eyes slightly red. He responded in a low voice and pushed her over. She didn't expect that someone would come back to eat at her house. Su Yiyan basically made dishes that were suitable for Hua Chenhuan's physique and taste. Chenhuan has been rather hot-tempered recently, so his dinner is rather bland. I don't know if it's to your liking. Hua Chenhuan. Sure enough, these dishes to cool down were prepared for him. Rather hot-tempered? Grandpa and Grandpa Sanrao's eyes fell on Hua Chenhuan at the same time with subtle expressions. Especially young Master Jiang Qingwang, he carefully looked up and down at Hua Chenhuan, as if looking for proof of his hot-tempered nature. He was afraid that he would suddenly fly into a rage while eating and spit out a mouthful of fire. If Hua Chenhuan knew what he was thinking, he would probably be unable to help but swear on the spot. He was hot-tempered, but he wasn't a fire-breathing dragon. Spit your sister's fire. Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 552. Old Master Jiang was stunned for a few seconds before he realized that Su Yiyan was vaguely showing off her love for him. He coughed softly, unable to adapt to the young man's rhythm. Sister Su, you're too polite. It's too presumptuous of us to come uninvited. Jiang Qingwang tried his best to shift his gaze away from Hua Chenhuan and the table. He said tentatively, well, my sister's leg. Let's eat first. We'll talk after eating. Yes. Let's eat first. How can we be energetic if we don't eat? We'll talk about other things after we finish eating. Jiang Qingwang received his grandfather's warning gaze. He held his breath in his chest and couldn't get it out. He increasingly felt that his grandfather had been deceived. This person didn't answer because she was stalling for time. That's right, that's it. He had already seen through this person deliberately using eating to stall for time. Moreover, these things didn't look very delicious. He would never eat them. Jiang Qingwang thought that he had discovered the truth, and was full of resistance to the dishes on the table. However, this resistance was soon defeated by the expressions of enjoyment on the others' faces, and the aroma of the dishes that kept wafting into his nose. These dishes didn't look special. Why did they smell so good? Then he thought about it again. Maybe they only smelled good but didn't taste good. Why don't I give it a try? Jiang Qingwang prepared himself mentally. Finally, he picked up his chopsticks and put a piece of bamboo shoot into his mouth. The fresh spring bamboo shoots were sweet and salty. They were crispy, sweet, and refreshing in the mouth. It seemed that he could even taste a trace of game unique to the mountains. By the time Jiang Qingwang reacted, his chopsticks had already involuntarily reached for the other dishes. His heart, which was originally very resistant to these dishes, had betrayed him on the spot. Su Yiyan didn't know that someone had performed a live performance of smelling good, right under her nose. She was being polite by inviting old Master Jiang and the others to eat together. However, these people weren't guests that she had specially invited. Su Yiyan didn't show too much enthusiasm. She sat at the table and ate while supervising Hua Chenhuan to eat the soup and dishes that she had specially made to cool down the heat. You've been having a lot of internal heat recently. This soup is specially brewed for you. It's good for clearing internal heat, replenishing energy and calming nerves. Drink more. Su Yiyan specially scooped a bowl of longan lotus seed soup and placed it in front of Hua Chenhuan. When Old Master Jiang and the others who were sitting opposite them saw this scene, they were in a trance and sighed. You two have such a good relationship. It wasn't like the rumors outside that it was just a business marriage and a relationship of interest. Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment. She blushed slightly. I'm sorry for making you laugh. Chen Huan's health had deteriorated a lot because of his legs. Although I'm fine now, I still need to recuperate for a while before I can feel at ease. Of course. Although Old Master Jiang said that, in his heart, he was thinking about when his granddaughter would get better, so that he could have a chance to help her recuperate. Hopefully this day will come, and hopefully this day will come sooner. When Hua Chenhuan heard Su Yiyan's words, the corners of her mouth raised slightly. The depression of their world being disturbed finally dissipated a lot. But soon, this smile froze, and her eyes narrowed dangerously. When Jiang Chengwang heard Su Yiyan and Hua Chenhuan's words, although he knew that it was impolite, his eyes still drifted unconsciously to the longan lotus seed soup, and his hand was eager to reach out. Unfortunately, before his hand could touch the bowl of soup, a sharp gaze slashed at him. Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 553. Jiang Chengwang's whole body stiffened. He met Hua Chenhuan's cold gaze, and his wrists suddenly felt cold. He always felt that if he really stretched out his hand, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to see the sun again. Forget it. Food was precious, but life was more valuable. He couldn't afford to offend her. After successfully forcing the little puppy who dared to steal food from the tiger's mouth with his eyes, Hua Chenhuan was in a good mood. He drank the bowl of lotus seed soup that Su Yiyan gave him quite straightforwardly. Su Yiyan saw everything. She only felt that it was funny, but she didn't expose him. After the five of them had dinner, they took a short break and got to the point. Su Yiyan first tried to touch Jiang Qingruan's legs like when she treated Hua Chenhuan before. The answer she got was similar to when she asked Hua Chenhuan that day. Su Yiyan frowned, got up and said, "Go to the guest room." Although they didn't know what she was going to do, they still did as she said and pushed Jiang Qingruan into the guest room downstairs. "Put her on the bed and lie down." "I'll do it." Jiang Chengwang immediately volunteered when he heard this. Su Yiyan couldn't help laughing. "If you don't do it, who will?" There were only 3 men in the room. Old Master Jiang was old. Not to mention carrying someone, he would be worried even if he bumped into someone. Her husband didn't like to touch other women except her. Even if he was willing, Su Yiyan wouldn't be willing. Jiang Chengwang was the only one left. If he didn't help, did he expect her to carry him up herself? Jiang Chengwang's face turned green, but he was still worried about his sister's legs. He silently carried her to the bed. "Turn over. I want to touch her bones." "Touch her bones?" Jiang Chengwang looked at her in surprise. Jiang Qingruan didn't say anything. She tried to turn over sideways. Su Yiyan reached out and touched her back all the way down to her tailbone, and a hint of understanding appeared in her eyes. Old Master Jiang stood on the side and looked at her nervously. When he saw her get up, he asked tentatively, "Sister Su, how is Qingruan?" "It can be cured, but it will take some time." When Old Master Jiang heard the first half of the sentence, he held his breath. His face instantly turned red, and his hands began to tremble. When he heard the second half of the sentence, he said without thinking, "It's good that it can be treated. As long as it can be treated, we can wait no matter how long it takes." Jiang Qingruan's face was buried in the pillow, so he couldn't see her expression. However, because of Su Yiyan's words, her hands, which were hanging by the side, suddenly grabbed the edge of the pillow tightly. Blue veins could be faintly seen. It was obvious that her heart was not calm. Jiang Chengwang's eyes also lit up. He was pleasantly surprised, but he was worried that he would rejoice for nothing. It's good that you're mentally prepared. In addition, since you've already been treated, it's best to continue the treatment one by one. That way, the effect will be better. The problem now is that Chen Huan and I have to go to my aunt's place next month to accompany her due date. It might take a month or two for us to come back. Her place is quite far from City A. Do you want to wait for me to come back for treatment, or do you want to come to me yourself? Hearing this, old Master Zhang's hot head cooled down a little, and he asked in a low voice, Sister Sue, may I ask where your aunt is? She's in City C. City C? Old Master Jiang muttered. That's quite far away. But it doesn't matter. I have an old friend who has a property in City C before. I'll call him later to see if I can rent his house for a few months. If it doesn't work, we can also rent it there. Nowadays, if you have money, you don't have to worry about not having a house to live in. You can read the latest chapter of the male protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 554. Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows and confirmed again. So your choice is? If possible, we hope to do it as soon as possible. Okay, then let's start tonight. You can deal with the house yourself. Jiang Chengwang exclaimed. Tonight? Su Yiyan turned to look at him. What's wrong? Do you think it's too rushed? Do you want to delay a few more days? No. Jiang Chengwang hurriedly waved his hand. I'm just worried that you're not fully prepared. His sister was paralyzed in the lower limbs. Could she be cured with a few touches? What do I need to prepare? Do I have to bathe, change clothes, burn incense, and fast before treating your sister's illness? Why are there so many rules? Jiang Chengwang was speechless. What kind of fallacy was this? It felt even more unreliable. Su Yiyan didn't care what he thought. She directly shouted at the door. Uncle Zhang, help me bring the box in the room. Oh, okay. Uncle Zhang moved quickly and brought the box down for her in a short while. Not only was there Su Yiyan's acupuncture bag in the box, but there was also a series of tools such as artemisia and massage. When Jiang Chengwang saw Su Yiyan take out such a thin and long needle from the acupuncture bag, their faces turned pale. Hua Chenhuan was very calm. After all, he had been pricked many times before, and he didn't know how many needle holes there were on his body. Sister Suyu. When Su Yiyan heard old Master Zhang's voice, she realized that they were still in the room. She frowned and said, Why are you still here? Where else can we go? Of course we go out. In a while I'll lift her clothes and give her acupuncture. You guys are standing here. Aren't you afraid that you'll see something you shouldn't see? Su Yiyan looked at Hua Chenhuan meaningfully. Hua Chenhuan's face changed slightly, and he said with a strong desire for survival, I'll go out right away. We'll go out too. Grandpa. Jiang Chengwang's face was full of worry. The needle was so scary. It must be very painful. Unfortunately, old Master Jiang didn't care about what he thought and dragged him out. Seeing this, Hua Chenhuan leaned over and kissed Su Yiyan. She whispered, I'll wait for you outside. Come out soon. Okay, close the door for me. After the three people left, only Su Yiyan and Jiang Qingruan were left in the room. As soon as Su Yiyan approached, Jiang Qingruan's whole body stiffened. Nervous? A little. Don't be afraid. This needle looks scary, but it won't hurt. Jiang Qingruan forced a smile, but he was still a little flustered. He had to try to divert his attention. Can my leg really be cured? Did you see Chen Huan when his legs weren't working? No, but I heard that he was similar to you before. What about now? He's fine. Yes, he's fine. If he can recover, why can't you? Jiang Qingruan was stunned, and her eyes suddenly became hot. It had been a few years. Her grandfather had never given up looking for people to treat her legs, but those people had said that her legs were not cured. Someone told her that if others could cure it, why couldn't she? Jiang Qingruan rubbed the pillow to hide her tears. Thank you. You'd better wait a few months before saying this to me when you're better. Okay. She had waited for a few years. Now it was only a few months. She could wait with hope. Read the latest chapter of the male protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 555. Su Yiyan was busy treating people inside, and the three of them were waiting anxiously outside. Jiang Chengwang in particular had been wandering back and forth since he came out. A layer of the floor in front of the guest room was almost rubbed off by him. At first, old Master Jiang was relatively calm. He even took advantage of this leisure time to call the old friend he had mentioned before, and ask him about the suite in Sea City. The old friend was also loyal. When he heard that he was going to take his granddaughter to Sea City to live for a while, he immediately said, "Why rent outside? How can renting be more comfortable than living in your own house?" Anyway, they didn't live in that house much and had always been empty. After the grandfather and granddaughter went over, they could help to clean up the house. There was no need to rent outside. He would ask someone to send the key over when he was free. Old Master Jiang didn't refuse after hearing this. He really needed this place to stay now, so there was no need to be pretentious about this matter. As for this favor, he would remember it. Time passed by minute. After about an hour, old Master Jiang began to be anxious. He frequently looked at the closed door of the guest room, and even began to be absent-minded when talking to Hua Chenhuan. Hua Chenhuan was actually a little anxious. He didn't care about Sister Zhang's situation inside, but he was worried that his wife would be tired. After working for the first day, he had to cook dinner, and now he had to treat people for so long. Just thinking about it made him feel tired. Thinking of this, Hua Chenhuan despised this family a little more. He regretted that he had revealed Su Yiyan's matter to him for a moment of convenience, and for the sake of this person's old relationship with his parents. Old Master Jiang didn't know that someone had begun to regret cooperating with him, because he cared about his wife. If he knew, his mood would be very complicated. "Grandpa, why is there no movement inside at all?" "Sister Shi, your sister's leg is so serious. It must be more time-consuming to treat it. Just wait patiently." Although he said that, old Master Jiang's eyes couldn't help but drift to the door. Obviously, his heart was not at ease. At this moment, the door opened with a click. Su Yiyan walked out yawning. "Okay, go in and bring her out. She should be asleep soon." Jiang Chengwang rushed in immediately. "Sister, are you okay?" However, she met her sister's sparkling eyes. "Sister, I'm fine. Take me out." "Oh, okay." Jiang Chengwang was stunned for a few seconds before he came back to his senses. He hurriedly carried his sister into the wheelchair, feeling that his sister seemed to be different from usual. Seeing Su Yiyan come out, Master Jiang also stood up suddenly. Suppressing the urge to go in and see his granddaughter, he took the initiative to ask about Jiang Qingruan's situation. "Sister Su, Qingruan, I've already treated her. Her condition is slightly worse than Chen Huan's." Hearing this, Master Jiang's heart skipped a beat. If her condition was worse than Hua Chenhuan's, then fortunately she didn't waste as much time as Chen Huan, so the chances of her being cured are still very high. If it had been a few years later, it might not have been so easy. Old Master Jiang's mood was like a roller coaster, rising and falling. If it weren't for his healthy heart, he would have been lying down by now. "That's good. That's good." When Jiang Chengwang pushed his sister out, he heard their conversation. He frowned as if he had made up his mind. Suddenly he asked, "Can you really cure my sister?" Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 556. As soon as he asked this question, the atmosphere in the room immediately became subtle. "Chengwang." Old Master Jiang shouted in a low voice, for fear that he would offend him as soon as he opened his mouth. Hua Chenhuan also took his words as a question to Su Yiyan, and her face darkened on the spot. Su Yiyan didn't care much and said truthfully, "If nothing unexpected happens, yes." Jiang Chengwang gritted his teeth, walked out from behind his sister, and solemnly bowed to Su Yiyan. He even said in a particularly childish manner, "If you can cure her, my life is yours." Su Yiyan. "Young man, do you think you're filming some righteous martial arts inspirational drama?" Hua Chenhuan's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. What did he mean by "my life is yours"? Didn't this mean that he would repay the kindness of saving his life with his body? He dared to steal his woman in front of him. Did he think that he was dead? "Chengwang." Old Master Jiang and Jiang Qingruan exclaimed at the same time. However, unlike the anger from before, This shout was more of fear and worry. How could this child not take his own life seriously? If he took it seriously, wouldn't it be? Su Yiyan was silent for a few seconds, and couldn't help but laugh out loud. In a society ruled by law, I don't steal, I don't rob, and I don't kill for money. Why would I want your life? Jiang Chengwang was stunned, and his eyes widened. He didn't know what to do. After all, he was still an immature minor. In the eyes of Su Yiyan, who had lived 2 lives, he was just a child. If you really want to do something, first wash your... Su Yiyan pointed at his green hair, and tried to think of a word. Wash this green hair. It's really too eye-catching. What did it mean to have green hair? Didn't children nowadays know? Su Yiyan thought about it for a while, and decided not to hurt her eyes. She was just trying to pursue a little unconventional. Before Jiang Qingrun completely recovered, she would definitely have to meet this grandfather and grandson several times. Based on how much he cared about his sister, he would most likely be present when he treated Jiang Qingrun. Su Yiyan felt that he might go blind after looking at this green-haired beast a few more times. Hua Chenhuan narrowed her eyes. She felt that the patch of green on top of a certain someone's head was very similar to her. Jiang Chengwang didn't sense the approaching danger. Hearing Su Yiyan's words, he blankly reached out his hand to touch his dazzling smart neon green. Feeling wronged, he said, "Is it really that ugly?" As soon as this was said, not only Su Yiyan, but even Jiang Qingrun and the others' expressions became indescribable. "Actually, Grandpa and I have wanted to be with you for a long time. Your hair is really ugly." It was really ugly. She just wanted to protect her child's self-esteem, so she had no choice but to hold her nose and bear with it. Now someone finally spoke the truth that they had been holding back for a long time. Jiang Qingrun gave his brother a fatal blow without any psychological burden. As if struck by lightning, Jiang Chengwang shut himself up on the spot. When they saw him looking at each other like this, they couldn't help but burst out laughing. It was a little late when they started the treatment. When the treatment ended, it was already late at night. The 3 people from the Jiang family didn't want to disturb them anymore. After thanking Su Yiyan again, they prepared to leave. Before leaving, Jiang Chengwang still didn't give up and asked, "You really don't need me, Hua Chenhuan? This stinking brat is asking for a beating." Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Ming Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 557. Su Yiyan was slightly startled. She glanced at Old Master Jiang and Jiang Qingrun, who looked nervous. She sighed inwardly. Naughty children were really worrisome. No need. Su Yiyan seriously rejected Jiang Chengwang's proposal. "Child, don't always think about these messy things. Compensation and rewards are important. They have nothing to do with you." "How does it have nothing to do with me?" Jiang Chengwang subconsciously glanced at his sister's legs and said unwillingly, "I'm not a child." "Before you say that, dye your green hair back first." Jiang Chengwang. Aya so angry. He couldn't stand this grievance. Su Yiyan didn't care whether he was wronged or not. She winked at Old Master Jiang and asked him to quickly take this naughty child home. Old Master Jiang was also afraid that this naughty child would say something shocking again, so he covered his mouth and dragged him and his eldest granddaughter away in a hurry. Su Yiyan looked at their backs as they hurried away, but she couldn't help laughing. She didn't laugh for long before her face was turned over by a certain someone. She saw her man's face, which was as black as the bottom of a pot. "What's wrong?" Su Yiyan blinked innocently. "You smiled so happily at him." Hua Chenhuan said this through gritted teeth. Su Yiyan smiled slightly and deliberately teased him. "Don't you think he's very interesting?" "No. Yes. Yes. Ha 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 ha." Su Yiyan looked at Hua Chenhuan's black face and couldn't help laughing out loud. "Do you think his green hair matches you well?" Hua Chenhuan's black face suddenly turned green, and 2 sentences he saw in the live broadcast room unconsciously appeared in his mind. "Love is a light, so green that it makes people panic. If you want to live a good life, you have to be a cuckold." "Bah, nonsense, no one can make him wear a cuckold." Su Yiyan looked at her man's increasingly unsightly expression. She held back her laughter and explained. That's the way I look at the child. Although the child is naughty and mischievous, she's very cute. Although he would be angry when he saw them causing trouble, he would feel more helpless, which made him laugh. And when I look at him, I always think of you. Thinking of me? The affectionate look on Hua Chunhuan's face froze. She couldn't understand how they were similar. Su Yiyan turned to look at him. His eyes seemed to contain a ray of light. He's not old. Looking at him, I always wonder if you were about the same age as him before the accident. Hua Chunhuan was slightly startled. Indeed, he and his parents were about Jiang Chengwang's age when the accident happened. At that time, did you also have a rebellious period like him? Maybe you even dyed your hair green like him? Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh again. Hua Chunhuan. I'm not. Don't overthink it. I'm not as childish as him. Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh. She deliberately teased him. You also know that he's childish? Then, aren't you even more childish for arguing with such a childish person like him? Hua Chunhuan was at a loss for words. Anyway, you're not allowed to smile at him like that again. I can't guarantee that, unless he can be normal next time. Otherwise, with that head of green light, green hair, it would be hard for her not to notice him even if she didn't want to. It wasn't just green hair. What if he dyed his hair red, purple, yellow, or rainbow? She couldn't guarantee that she would put all these hair colors on Hua Chunhuan's head one by one. Then ha 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 ha. With that thought, Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh like a barbell. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 558. Hua Chunhuan sensed Su Yiyan's gaze lingering on the top of her head. She heard her uncontrollable laughter, and guess what she was thinking? She was both annoyed and amused. She secretly planned to call old Master Jiang when Su Yiyan wasn't paying attention, and ask him to discipline his rebellious grandson. Young Master Jiang, who had no idea that he was about to be cut in half during his rebellious period. Who did he offend? Now that the Jiang family's matter was resolved, Su Yiyan was relieved of the burden on her shoulders. The next morning, Su Yiyan was in a good mood, and went to the company to clock in. However, she bumped into an unexpected acquaintance. Auntie? Su Yiyan turned her head in confusion, and saw Lan Jia waving happily at her not far away. Why was this guy at her company? Auntie? And Rusu, who was dragged over by Lan Jia, looked at Su Yiyan in surprise. She couldn't believe that this girl, who was about the same age as them, was Lan Jia's auntie? As if reading her mind, Su Yiyan glared at Lan Jia helplessly and pretended to be annoyed. You can just call me by my name. Calling me auntie makes me sound old. Lan Jia touched his head guiltily and complained in a low voice. Sister-in-law and my parents scolded me and told me not to be rude in front of you. Since he had already said that, Su Yiyan didn't want to dwell on the issue. She turned her gaze to the girl beside him. And this is... Hello, President Su. My name is Rusu. I'm the scriptwriter who's here to discuss a collaboration with your company. Scriptwriter? Su Yiyan's eyes darted between the two of them. She smiled and asked, what's your relationship with him? And Rusu didn't expect her to be so direct and was stunned for a few seconds. Lan Jia saw this and immediately answered, she's my junior from the same school and also my current girlfriend. Girlfriend? Su Yiyan came to a sudden realization. The girlfriend you mentioned to your sister-in-law during your grandfather's birthday? Yes, that's her. Lan Jia was a little embarrassed, but he didn't forget to recommend his girlfriend to Su Yiyan. Auntie, our Su is very good at drawing. Many people on the internet like to watch her drawings. She's also a fan of the host. Su Yiyan then recalled that Lan Jia had previously mentioned that she was their matchmaker. Could it be because of this that a certain someone had dragged his girlfriend into her trap? Oh really? What was her ID in the live streaming room? I might have an impression of him. The moment Su Yiyan said that, Lan Jia instinctively looked at his girlfriend with an encouraging expression. The corner of Rusu's mouth twitched when she caught his gaze. She said awkwardly, my live stream ID is my roommate is a dumbass. Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows. She felt that this ID sounded familiar. She pondered for a moment. Then a thought flashed through her mind. Enrusu? Don't tell me you're... Enrusu met her gaze. She didn't know why, but for some reason, she revealed her other identity. Oh, I have another ID on the internet. It's Anji Ruosu. So it was her. Wasn't Anji Ruosu one of the dorm sisters who had helped her clear her name on the internet? Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle is Obviously in Love with My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 559. Su Yiyan was pleasantly surprised. She looked at Enrusu with more enthusiasm. Don't you have a roommate whose ID is Aunt left today? And she has a verified account called Xia Yuning Shi? Enrusu was stunned. She didn't expect Su Yiyan to know about this. Yes, Lan Jia looked at Enrusu, who was standing there in a daze, and chuckled. I knew she was a fan of the host. You didn't believe me. Enrusu seemed to wake up from a dream. She glanced at Su Yiyan subconsciously. Then she reached out and pinched Lan Jia's waist without mercy. How dare he expose her in front of Rao Rao? He needs to be taught a lesson. Lan Jia's expression changed. He wanted to cry out in pain, but then he remembered that he was in someone else's company. He could only complain about his girlfriend with tears in his eyes. Su Yiyan saw the two's actions and changed the subject. Did you come here to talk about a collaboration with our company? What collaboration? Have you signed the contract? It's an adaptation of a comic. I've already signed the contract. I'm here to deliver the script. Comic? Su Yiyan seemed to realize something. Don't tell me you're talking about. You're not allowed to become a spirit after the founding of the People's Republic? You're not allowed to become a spirit after the founding of the People's Republic, was one of the 3 IP projects that Xia Junxing had proposed to her. It was about a 9-tailed fox who became a spirit after the founding of the People's Republic due to malnutrition. She had no choice but to become a black fox. In order to avoid the investigation of the censorship department, she made countless jokes. Although this kind of plot was usually defined as a comedy, the characters in the story were full of character. The seemingly funny plot also vaguely revealed many real problems. There were laughter and tears, flesh and blood. This was why Su Yiyan had taken a liking to it and promoted it as a key IP. Enrusu was surprised. How did you know? This is the only IP that the company has been focusing on recently. I didn't expect the original author to be you. You're amazing. Enrusu was a little embarrassed by her praise. You're flattering me. I was originally learning how to draw. I drew this on a whim. I didn't expect it to come to this day. My roommate is much better than I am. Your roommate? Su Yiyan's eyes lit up. Xia Yuning Shi? Yes. One of her books has also been signed by your company. What's his name? Dancing in Red. Su Yiyan was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the book he paid special attention to was written by an acquaintance. Isn't she a cosplaying? Why did you go and write? Before this, Su Yiyan really didn't know what a cosplayer was. It was because of this Xia Yoshi that he went to investigate. It could be said that he had a deep impression of it. Cosplaying is just her hobby. Writing is also her hobby, just like drawing is my hobby. Enrusu didn't dare to do it. Cosplaying was one of her hobbies. It was just that Xia Ningxi had taught her to cosplay. Usually, whenever Xia Ningxi cosplayed a female character, she would drag Enrusu along to cosplay a male character. It was better not to reveal this matter, lest a certain someone thought that he was a cuckold. At this thought, Enrusu instinctively glanced at Lan Jia. Lan Jia, who was oblivious to the green light above his head. Su Yiyan heard her words and frowned slightly. Didn't you just say that you learned how to draw? Now you're saying that drawing is just your hobby? What's your main occupation then? I know that. I know that. Before Enrusu could answer, Lan Jia beat her to it. Rusu's main occupation is a fashion designer. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Ming Loves My Joie bookstore for free. You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.